Hi everyone, I'm Margarita Muradova, a personal stylist and fashion consultant from Kyiv, Ukraine, and today we're gonna talk about things that actually do really bother me, things and objects that people sell that you definitely should not, and those are definitely fashion concerned items, something that's about fashion and fashion related. And I see people selling these branded things absolutely everywhere, the Real, Vestiaire Collective, etc. And I feel like these specific items are not only going to be back in style, but also will definitely go up in price, and the demand would be crazy. So I feel like there's absolutely no reason to sell these specific things, and everyone is doing this, and that's the reason we're creating this video for you. This year is the first time I'm presenting you with Trend Book 2024, an international English-speaking webinar about trend forecasting for the year 2024. Silhouettes, shapes, designs, what's going to be in trend, what's going to go out of trends, all the details, what fabrics we're going to wear and use, what are the silhouettes for each and every clothing item in your wardrobe. And this is going to be very useful, first of all, for stylists and personal stylists, for people who are working in the fashion sphere, in the fashion field, so let's say fashion journalists, fashion directors, fashion photographers, fashion bloggers, etc., but also for people who are in love with fashion and would like to be pioneering in the fashion field and know beforehand what's going to be in trend, what's going to go out of trend. We're going to talk about trendsetters, who's going to be the trendsetter for this year. What are the 30 fashion formulas for each and every season for the next year? So if you know about me, you know I love fashion formulas, outfit formulas. Outfit formulas is a tried and true fashion clothing combination that is going to work for the next year. We're going to talk about styling combinations and also styling tricks and tips that are going to be very new and beautiful the next year. So the way you work with fabric, the way you style different items, the way you layer stuff, etc., etc. Also, we're going to talk about a hot list, so a must-have list of items that is definitely going to be in trend, on point for 2024. So a trend book is not only a 4-hour online webinar, but also a PDF separate file with over 500 pages of information about everything and anything that's going to be in fashion, in the fashion momentum for the next year. Join us for Trend Book 2024 via the link below. So first things first, anything Phoebe Philo, actually. I've seen a decrease in demand in buying old Celine pieces or Phoebe Philo's pieces for Chloe when she was a creative director in there over the last couple of years. I do remember the craze that was absolutely happening when Phoebe Philo left Celine. Everyone wanted old Celine items. They've bought it multiple times, and also the prices were absolutely bonkers, but people kept buying these things and collecting them and calling themselves old Celine connoisseurs, etc. And then a couple of years passed and everyone's kind of over this whole thing. But now is exactly the moment not only to keep these things and not to sell them, but also to buy them, because Phoebe Philo finally came out with her own namesake brand, which means that all of the things that she's been creating previously will definitely go up in demand and price. Just wait for this moment. So definitely keep your hands on these things. Do not sell them and watch them go up in price. Next thing is definitely everything vintage Calvin Klein, specifically Calvin Klein from the 90s. I see so many things being sold, for example, on the Real for like extortionate, like crazy small prices. But the thing is that the 90s are not only still in fashion, they're gonna gain their momentum even more in the next year. And I'm pretty pretty positive that I feel like Calvin Klein as a clothing brand are thinking of a fashion comeback with the whole minimalistic 90s style, with definitely totally different prices, which means that all of these things that you're now selling for $30, $50, perfect blouses, perfect shirts, perfect pants, evening dresses, everything Calvin Klein from the 90s, is going to be so valuable to a point that they're going to literally copycat those items from archives into their present collections, and they're gonna be worth a lot more than $50 than the original one. So I feel like what we need to do is to hit pause and stop selling absolutely everything. And I do understand the need to keep your closet kind of edited and workable for you, but also there's some space for clothes to kind of live and to create your own archive of things that will be valuable at some point, or maybe hold some emotional value for you. And these definitely are them. There's being smart about your closet editing, but also there's being smart about keeping things in your closet for the sake of keeping their value and their heritage. And this is exactly it, mark my words. The next thing is all the Prada shoes. Honestly, I definitely see a spike. I've been seeing a spike in Manolo Blahnik mules want and need over the past couple of months for sure. But also what I'm saying is Prada vintage shoes from the 90s and 2000s are going to be so in at the moment, and they're sold for such small, crazy small prices that I feel like people are not evaluating the cost and the value of these shoes properly, and they're also not thinking kind of ahead in terms of fashion. So what I'm telling you is all of those 90s/2000s, not only actually shoes, but anything Prada from the 90s and 2000s, you better keep them, guard them with your life, because in the next year and actually a year to follow after that, they're going to go up in price. They're going to be so trendy because Prada is basically literally copying what they've done before in the 90s and 2000s and kind of switching a couple of things, tweaking them, and then making a comeback with crazy prices. So what I suggest you do is actually keep your eye on everything that's happening in fashion and keep your shoes, Prada shoes specifically, in your closet for a couple of years for sure. And the last thing we're gonna touch base on is basically Raf Simons' era in Dior. I feel like it wasn't appreciated enough, honestly, because his precision, his work with materials and textiles, his work with modern textiles and inventions and shapes and silhouettes is so beautiful, is so full of invention that I feel like these things will definitely go up in price, specifically in comparison to what Maria Grazia Chiuri is doing in Dior at the moment, because even though it's very commercially successful, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's very kind of fashionably, historically valuable, but his things are definitely that. But also concerning Raf Simons, everything Raf Simons has done for his own namesake brand, but also for Calvin Klein. Honestly, I feel like even though he was not necessarily fired, but let go of that position in Calvin Klein's new reimagined fashion brand, I feel like there was not enough time put in terms of investment into Raf Simons' creations, because I feel like the audience needed a bit more time to understand his designs, and they're absolutely super cool and trendy and interesting and volume filled and beautifully shaped, and the textiles and textures and everything's working amazingly in there, and the prints so crazy, so innovative, so ahead of time that now they're crazy popular that now they're very in this whole zeitgeist moment. They're very in. So I feel like people need to stop selling Raf Simons's creations and actually start hoarding them, because very soon I feel like he's going to be appreciated for what he is, a beautiful, talented, crazy cool mind. And obviously he's doing a lot of stuff for Prada, and I feel like he's such a good fit for Prada, specifically because they do value some artistic input and also creative outlook on their stuff, even on their archival stuff. But his stuff for Calvin Klein and Dior are the things to look for. And let me know in the comments below if you've seen on all of these resale platforms like the Real, Vestiaire Collective, etc., some of the things that you think or you wish people would not sell because, or would not have sold because they're so valuable, and you feel like people are making a mistake. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!